Hey everyone, welcome back to the Fantasy Bros Football Podcast for a special trade deadline edition. I'm Bobby Sylvester, joined as always by Mike Tagliere. We're on Twitter at BobbyFantasyPro and at Mike Tagliere NFL. Tags, it was an eventful day, man. What's the biggest news in your opinion?
Oh, the biggest news. Which one do I have to pick here? I think I'm going to say that the biggest news from a fantasy perspective is the Demaryius Thomas trade to the Houston Texans. And the reason that I say that, I mean, if you guys haven't heard, for whatever reason, Demaryius Thomas was traded to the Texans. They will be getting a 4th rounder in return, and they're swapping 7th round picks. So basically, this is the Broncos saying that they're going to move on to Courtland Sutton as their primary perimeter wide receiver. A lot of people are excited about that. Now, there's some fallout from that. There's some fallout from Demaryius Thomas going to Houston. But my biggest question of this move is what it means for Emmanuel Sanders. And I think people are kind of overlooking this. People are automatically assuming that Demaryius...
Yeah, everyone thinks that it's going to be great for him. I think it might be the opposite direction here.
Yeah. So that's the thing is, like, I was looking up some numbers when this trade took place, and Emmanuel Sanders has been running 65% of his routes from the slot. That we all know that slot targets mean more than perimeter targets. Like, a historical point of view, slot targets are worth much more. They are able to evade matchups with top-tier cornerbacks because a lot of those guys don't go into the slot. So Emmanuel Sanders has been doing so much damage in the slot. But now you look at the Broncos depth chart, and you have to think that Deshaun Hamilton is the one who is going to step into the starting lineup in 3 wide receiver sets. And coming out of college, Deshaun Hamilton was considered a slot receiver. I don't know if they want to play him on the perimeter. So what's your take here?
My take is that Deshaun Hamilton is going to be awesome in the slot. He's going to be a beneficiary. Courtland Sutton's going to be the biggest beneficiary. I know he's going to be covered by some killer corners, and so there will be games where you don't want to play him, kind of like Devin Funchess last week. But I think that he's a wide receiver 3, maybe even a low-end wide receiver 2 going forward, because when I watch him on film, I think he's the best receiver between Demaryius Thomas, Emmanuel Sanders. I think Courtland Sutton is number 1. I think that he's more polished than Calvin Ridley, DJ Moore, Kiki QT. I think he's the best rookie wide receiver. I can't wait for him to get targets.
Yeah, the thing is like Courtland Sutton's receiving a lot of publicity here. And a lot of people saying it's chalk week for him and this and that. Here's my issue. I mean, they're playing Houston this week. Houston doesn't have a great secondary, but they also haven't been like very friendly to opposing quarterbacks because of the pass rush. Case Keenum is missing 2 of his starting offensive linemen as far as we know, with Ron Leary and Jared Veldheer missing this week potentially. But then they go on their bye week. And after that, they're going to be playing the Chargers, which means Courtland Sutton will see Casey Hayward most likely. Then they play Pittsburgh, which means Joe Hayden most likely. And then it's like the Bengals in week 13. That's a good matchup, even though they've started to do some shadowing situations themselves. But it seems like you might have a couple weeks before you get really good production out of Courtland Sutton.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. But you know what? I want this guy going into the fantasy football playoffs. I've already got a lot of playoff bids wrapped up in my leagues. And if you're in the same situation, he is my number 1 guy to acquire. I know it's a little bit late with your waiver wire deadline coming up, but if he's still available after you hear this, go scoop him up. I like him more than Devontae Parker, more than Kiki QT, and QT actually drops back quite a bit because Demaryius Thomas is going to be there. But how involved is Demaryius Thomas actually going to be right away?
Demaryius Thomas, it's tough to say. So here's the thing with him that people don't realize. They're playing against the Broncos this week. So it's really odd. So Demaryius Thomas was traded today, which is obviously Tuesday. He's going to have to fly into Houston and get into practice on Wednesday, trying to establish some rapport with his new quarterback, and then fly back to Denver on Saturday and play that game on Sunday. It's a really like quick turnaround, like where it's like Amari Cooper has had an entire 2 weeks to work with his new team. I just think it's going to be really tough. The one thing that Demaryius Thomas does have going for him is that he knows this Denver defense better than anybody else. Like, he's obviously practiced against these guys.
But they know him better than anybody else, too.
That's true, but the role that he's going to play on this Houston team, it's different. He's not the alpha dog. He's not going to be that guy. So
not even close. DeAndre Hopkins is so good.
Yeah, I'm trying to figure out how this is going to shake out because, you know, Kiki QT has been playing the slot role, but Kiki QT is more of a field stretcher than Demaryius Thomas at this point in his career. So do they start moving Demaryius into the slot role and kind of have him play the big slot receiver, and then Kiki QT is known to stretch the field? Because back in college at Texas Tech, that's exactly what he did.
He can do anything. He's a complete receiver. Like, he's not an alpha dog anywhere close to that, but he can do any role. I mean, he can be a reception hog. He can be a deep threat. Kiki QT is a good rookie.
But yeah, here's the issue. I don't think he's playing this week. Some people are talking about that. So he's dealing with his hamstring injury. He tried playing through it earlier in the season, and now they have their bye week coming up after this game. So why push him back if you have a bye next week? So I think they rest him for another week. He comes back in week 11.
So we still won't know. We won't know for 2 more weeks.
Yeah, that's basically how I feel about it.
Yeah. I moved Demaryius Thomas down. I had him wide receiver 29 rest of the season. I've got him wide receiver 38 now.
Yeah, that's fair. I think he's going to be in that wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4 conversation most weeks. He hasn't been a big touchdown scorer, but obviously Deshaun Watson is the best quarterback he's had since Peyton Manning. So, we do have to take that into consideration, but he's also not going to see 8+ targets like he has over the last few seasons. So he's someone that I would debate. Like if you're looking between him and like maybe someone like Devin Funchess.
Would you rather have him or DJ Moore?
I would rather have Demaryius, I think.
Me too. Barely.
Just because there's different targets in Carolina. But Demaryius, I think I would take Devin Funchess over Demaryius Thomas. So that kind of gives you the range of players.
Okay. Well, there were some smaller trades. Clinton Dix traded to Washington. Dante Fowler traded to the Rams. Does this mean Jacksonville's giving up? What's going on here?
Well, Jacksonville traded away. So he's considered like the 3rd best pass rusher on that team. So it's like he was only playing, I think it was like 35% of the snaps. Could be wrong.
Just kind of hedging their assets. Like, well, if we make the playoffs without him, great. But if we don't, then at least we get a 3rd and 5th round pick.
Pretty much. There's some off the field concerns reportedly. And they got a 3rd round pick and then a 5th round pick. So, I mean.
Yeah, when I heard that there were fights in the locker room, I immediately thought, has to be Dante Fowler.
Yeah, he's been a disappointment for sure. But at the same time, the Rams did need a pass rusher. They got one. And maybe the change of scenery will do him good because it's done a lot of players good by going to the Rams. They definitely need to beef up that defense if they want to win a Super Bowl because there are holes in that defense, but this definitely helps them get better.
Another similar situation, Ty Montgomery traded to the Ravens after apparently he was, really mad, throwing a temper tantrum on the sideline. And then he returned a kickoff and fumbled. It was in the red zone. All he had to do was kneel down, and he fumbled it, costing them the game. I mean, Aaron Rodgers would have come and won that game. You know it. That's why they traded him.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. Like Rodgers lost his mind on the sideline when that whole thing happened. He's like, what is he doing? Like, what just happened?
Can you imagine getting Aaron Rodgers that mad?
I mean, no.
I would retire. I would move to another country.
I think Mike McCarthy does it every week, but Rodgers just can't show it.
Great call.
As much. Someone compared Mike McCarthy to, he just looks like an old Chicago cop that's unwilling to change his ways in the offense and stuff like that. But
he might be as bad as Hugh Jackson, by the way.
Yeah, he's not a good coach. I don't know if I'm going Hugh Jackson level bad, but he's not good.
By the way, Greg Williams, are you kidding me that he's an NFL coach? Like, how was this guy not put in jail, let alone, I don't understand how the NFL is letting this happen. For those of you who don't know, it was the Bounty Gate, where he was paying players to go for the head, kill the head, put shots on the head, ruining guys' lives. I know football's a violent game, but that's not cool.
No, and he's also a very crappy individual. Like if you've ever seen Greg Williams talk with when the cameras are on and he doesn't even know it, or
yeah, and he's a sucky coach.
When he goes to a team, he usually does well in the first year with them, but then it slowly the defense trends downward. There's just so much talent on that defense that it's made him look better than he actually is.
I've been rooting for the Browns. Because, come on, for Cleveland, now I'm rooting against the Browns.
I mean, he's not going to be their coach next year. So I said Browns fans, I think Josh McDaniels is the one that makes the most sense to go there.
Love it. I love Josh McDaniels, yeah.
I don't love Josh McDaniels as a person either, but at the same time, I don't know if he's one of those people that's going to struggle as a head coach because a lot of offensive coordinators do struggle when they go into that role. Not everybody can do it.
He just needs to know who he is and hire the right guys to fill his holes because he's an incredible player evaluator. And besides that, he needs some help. But that's somebody that you want running your team as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, no, for sure. And that's the thing. But the real fallout here, the thing that you should know, obviously Buck Allen, this means he's basically non-existent anymore because the Ravens traded for essentially the same player. Obviously this bumps up Aaron Jones. We finally saw Aaron Jones
not even close. He's the clear-cut starting running back. And I would even say on the fringe of becoming a workhorse. And he's a stud too.
Yeah, I think he's going to be in my RB2, for the rest of the season rankings. I think I'll put him in RB2 territory.
Kind of almost high RB2. I would rather have Aaron Jones than Jordan Howard going forward.
Ooh, yeah, I guess that's probably a good point. Jordan Howard is someone that I've actually moved down quite a bit. I have him currently as my number 22 running back in rest of season, and I could definitely see moving him down even further. So yeah, I would say Aaron Jones is probably going to move inside that range. The question is would you rather have Aaron Jones or Adrian Peterson?
That's close, man. I've got Aaron Jones number 16 right now, Adrian Peterson number 15. So yeah, there you go. Adrian Peterson but I would rather have, Mark Ingram, Marlon Mack, Sony Michel. So he still has a while to go before he really gets into that territory. But, I've got him ahead of guys like LaShawn McCoy, Kerryon Johnson, Jordan Howard, Tariq Cohen, Nick Chubb. So he's a valuable asset. I think you might be able to still acquire him for cheaper than he's actually worth.
I think I would rather have Aaron Jones than Dalvin Cook.
Oh, I would too. Yeah, I've got Cook at 23 rest of the season because when he comes back, I don't think he's going to be that workhorse. I think it's going to be a true 50-50 split. And who knows if he's going to be healthy.
I mean, that's the question too. Obviously Latavius Murray's played well. He's walked his way into timeshare. Bad offensive line. They're a pass first team. But yeah, we should probably talk about the other big trade that took place today.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. This one was maybe the biggest one. Golden Tate going to the Philadelphia Eagles. First, let's start with the impact for the Detroit Lions. Who does this help the most? Is it Marvin Jones Jr.? Does he become a must-start every week? Is it Kenny Golladay? Is he a true wide receiver one now? Or is it Kerryon Johnson? They're just going to run the ball a lot more.
It's a good question, and one that I don't know if we have the answer to.
Yeah, but almost everything. So what's your best guess?
Most everything. Yeah, so Golden Tate's average depth of target, it was 5.8 yards down the field. That's like running back territory. So basically, I would expect the running backs to pick up some of that volume. Theo Riddick has missed the last 2 weeks. I don't know if he's expected back, but Kerryon Johnson's been playing a bigger role in this offense. If they don't start to incorporate the tight ends more, because we're now at the point in the season where we're halfway through the year combined. Michael Roberts and Luke Wilson have combined for 18 targets. 18 targets. So unless you think that those guys are going to get more targets, we have to distribute those targets that have been going to Golden Tate throughout the offense.
LeGarrette Blount, baby.
No, God.
No, it's probably TJ Jones.
I don't know what they're going to do in the slot. I mean, TJ Jones is obviously going to walk in and see a couple targets per game, but I think this means more for Kenny Golladay because talking about the average depth of target among the players in this team, Golladay has his average depth of target is 11.5 yards, which is more around that possession style wide receiver role. And Marvin Jones is being targeted over 16 yards down the field. So he's essentially getting the field stretching role. He's getting more targeted air yards and all that stuff, but he'll be more volatile, but Kenny Golladay, I think, is going to be turned into somewhat of the possession style receiver for them. I think he gets a slight bump in production. I moved him into wide receiver 2 territory. I have him at wide receiver 18 for the rest of the season. I have Marvin Jones up at wide receiver 24. So I like them both going forward.
Yeah, I've got Jones at 24 as well. I've got Golladay quite a bit higher because I think a lot of people are looking at him and saying, this is a Emmanuel Sanders type of talent, John Brown, maybe T.Y. Hilton, Allen Robinson. I don't think so. I think that because of the blockade there with Detroit having 3 quality receivers, we don't know how good this kid is. I really think that he's every bit as good as Mike Evans, Devontae Adams. It might not be as good of a situation, but I believe he's a true wide receiver one. I would take him right around Stephon Diggs, Juju Smith-Schuster territory.
I was actually just about to ask you that question. If you had to choose between guys I'm going to throw out 3 names: Robert Woods, Stephon Diggs, Juju Smith-Schuster.
Rest of the season?
Yeah.
Let's see. I would take Juju, and then Stephon Diggs, and then Robert Woods. I would put Golladay 1 spot behind Robert Woods.
Yeah, I have it Woods, Diggs, Juju, and then Golladay, but that's the territory that he's in for sure.
Yep. All right, so what does this mean then for Philadelphia? How much does Golden Tate get used? Does he jump right into the offense? How does this hurt Alshon Jeffrey? What about Nelson Aguilar? Zach Ertz, does he take a hit as well?
Yeah, if you're worried about Alshon Jeffrey, I wouldn't be. Golden Tate is a slot receiver. He's another one. His as I talked about, his average depth of target in Detroit is very low. He's a guy that's going to get it done after the catch. And basically, I think this was Philadelphia saying that Nelson Aguilar is not living up to what we had hoped he'd be. And I went through his numbers and talked about it in the live stream actually that we did today. Over the last 2 years in the slot, he has totaled 8.6 yards per target and 9 touchdowns on 112 targets. All right, so those are really good numbers for a slot receiver. While playing on the perimeter, he's seen 44 targets, no touchdowns, and just 4.2 yards per target. So unless all of a sudden they're going to try and convert Golden Tate into a perimeter wide receiver, which that's not going to happen. You don't trade for him to do that. That means Nelson Aguilar is going to go back to playing on the perimeter, which is where he did earlier in his career and where he struggled and everybody called him a bust. He's been really bad this year. He hasn't done anything at all. They obviously have Zach Ertz to stretch the field up the middle. It's going to open things underneath for Golden Tate, but I also think this helps out Zach Ertz because I think he's going to see less attention from those safeties because they're going to come down and have to kind of help defend against Golden Tate, who can run after the catch. So The best thing here is Carson Wentz. They don't have a run game. They just really haven't run the ball much at all this year. Nobody has generated much.
I think Wentz is a QB1 almost every single week from this point forward.
Yes, I completely agree with you, especially knowing that their secondary does allow quite a few points to opposing teams. And Nelson Aguilar, this is, we talked about in the live stream, he's droppable. He is absolutely droppable at this point.
I don't think he's just droppable. I think you should drop him. I don't know why you would own him. If you can roster someone like Nelson Aguilar and you're not starting him, drop him for Spencer Ware, drop him for Malcolm Brown, drop him for Marquez Valdez-Scantling, someone with high upside that could take over it and win you your league.
Yeah, I would tend to agree with that. Yeah, like that's the thing is Nelson Aguilar hasn't even been good to this point. Like he's delivered maybe 1 or 2 usable fantasy performances in PPR formats. Outside of that, he's been pretty bad. So that I think this move says a lot about him because they traded away a 3rd round pick for a player that's a rent-a-player. He's going to be a free agent. There's a lot of question marks about this and what they just paid in order to get Golden Tate, but I think it just says that the Eagles know they're in contention for another Super Bowl. And if they're going to try and go up against the juggernauts in the NFC, they're going to have to beef up that offense a little bit because their defense is not going to be fixable overnight. So one piece of news I do want to mention, Bobby, I don't know if you saw it, but AJ Green is in a walking boot.
I saw that too. Yeah. I mean, he says he's going to be fine. It's his toe. So I don't really know what's going on, but toe injuries are scary, man.
It's worrisome for sure.
I would honestly put AJ Green on the block and see what I can get. I would trade AJ Green straight up right now for Christian McCaffrey, knowing he's got a toe injury in a boot.
That's tough. I mean, they are on their bye this week, so it obviously helps. It's going to give him some time to heal up from it.
Would it surprise you at all if he misses 2 or 3 weeks?
It probably would surprise me just because he's been playing through some other injuries this week. He had that hip injury earlier in the year, and he's talked about it. Like this was his year where he's like, I'm going to silence the haters. I want to be one of the best receivers to ever play the game, and he's done that. Like he's been phenomenal this year, and Tyler Boyd's emergence has helped take away some attention from him. When John Ross comes back, probably after the bye, we're going to see John Ross stretch the field.
Or they could just give it to Joe Mixon every single play, because why not?
I mean, they need to use Joe Mixon in the passing game, but that's a story for a different day. But I just wanted to pass that news along just so you guys at least knew that AJ Green is apparently in a walking boot.
Okay, Tex, we do have a little bit more time, so I'm going to give you 2 choices. Would you rather talk about Nathan Peterman starting in week 9, or would you rather do a surprise segment?
No, I don't want to talk about Nathan Peterman.
Okay, surprise segment it is then.
All right, what is it?
So we've got Halloween, right, coming up.
Mm-hmm.
We are going to give our top 5 Halloween candy power rankings. I was going to do top 10 where we go back and forth, but I obviously don't want you deciding who's in my top 10 power rankings because this is something very near and dear to my heart and important to me. So you get to go first. What is your number 1 power ranking candy? And if you say it, I can't take it.
So wait, are we doing a draft kind of thing?
It's kind of like a draft. Yeah, we're drafting a team of 5.
Okay, well, I'm taking Reese's Peanut Butter Cups because those are the best.
Yeah, I mean, that would have been my number 1 pick too, but I know my team's going to be so good that I let you have the number 1 pick even knowing you were probably going to take them. So I don't think that I need to take them right now, but I don't want to take any chance that you take Airheads because it just is the best candy, period.
Airheads are awesome. I mean, I haven't had an Airhead in a long time, so I can't comment on if I still like them.
Yeah, I mean, it's probably a guaranteed canker sore if you eat 2 of them at this point in your life. But with that being said, they are so good.
Yeah, they're definitely good. I definitely don't disagree with that. My next one would be, I want to ask you a question. All right, so I'm going to go with Almond Joy.
Oh, are you what?
Dude, I'm a huge coconut fan.
Oh, you are disgusting.
Oh, stop it. So hold on a second. So the word almond, is it wrong for me to say almond if I want to?
I mean, you can, but everyone listening to this podcast is now judging you.
No, they're not. Because hold on a second. Let's break down
I mean, you guys say pop in Chicago, so who cares what you guys call food?
Yeah, it is pop. I mean, I don't drink any pop, but it's called pop. Anyways, Almond Joy. So Al, all is spelled A-L-L, Al is spelled A-L. There's only one L in almond. So I've always looked at that word and I thought it was funny. I think everybody mispronounces it. I'll go along with...
It's possible. It's definitely possible, but I'm going to just stick with what's right.
I'll go with the crowd here and I'll say almond, but I think that it should be Almond Joy.
There's 5 or 6 chocolates that I have all right in the same range, so I'm going to save those. I'm going to get 2 or 3 of them, and I'm going to go ahead and get Sour Patch Kids right now because it is delicious. You don't get it very often in Halloween, but it's when you get it, whenever you go trick-or-treating, you got to grab it. And I'm talking when you're taking your kid and you're picking for them because you're going to eat it anyway.
That's gross.
Obviously, I'm not trick-or-treating, even though I had the greatest Halloween costume on our live stream today.
I'm trying to figure out if I'm supposed to take my son trick-or-treating. He's only, he'll be 2 in January, so I don't know if he should go trick-or-treating. I think I'm going to take him on a block.
Maybe 4 houses.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
But all right, so I'm going to go with, you can never go wrong with Snickers. I'll take that.
It's a good call. I wasn't probably going to draft them because I've got 5 chocolates ahead of them, but anytime you have a Snickers, it's yeah, this is good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go ahead and grab Twix right now.
Yeah, it's good.
I don't love what it does to your teeth, but it's probably the best chocolate left.
I don't like what any candy does to my teeth.
Well, especially Twix, because you get the caramel stuck in there and everything.
Yeah, for sure. Well, my next pick is...
You definitely have to wash it down with, Skittles.
With Skittles. I love Skittles, by the way.
Yeah, they're good. I thought about drafting them, but I already got 2 fruity candies.
I'm not going to go with them, though, because my next pick was Baby Ruth.
Okay. Yeah, you don't get Baby Ruths very often either, but that's a good pick as well. I'm going Kit Kat with my number 4 pick. They're kind of empty, but it tastes really good.
I get no satisfaction from those. So, they're not bad. I'm not saying they're a bad one, but I just legitimately you eat them and you don't feel like you ate anything.
Mm-hmm. All right. Pick number 5 for you. Better make it a good one because you are way behind right now.
I'm going to go with one my daughter. I just found out the other day that she hates them. But I think they're fantastic. I'm going to go with Whoppers.
What? Whoa, man. You just pick the worst candy that there is besides Almond Joy.
You've got to be kidding. You're the one who picks Sour Patch Kids. Those things are nasty.
Everybody loves... We're going to put this on Twitter and let the jury decide if Sour Patch Kids are better than Whoppers.
Whoppers are better.
Okay, number 5 pick, and this brings it all together. 100 Grand Bars. I don't know if people have not...
Yeah, those are pretty good, actually.
...tried these or just forgot how good they are, but they are good, man.
Yeah, they're definitely underrated. I'm with you on that one.
Okay, well, that ends our draft, and it ends our special edition episode. That was kind of weird, but it was fun. So we've got our Start Sit show coming out tomorrow. Make sure to subscribe on iTunes if you haven't already so you don't miss any future episodes. Thanks for listening, and enjoy your football.
I just wanted you to watch me dissolve.